When I started prioritizing love and connection first to my family, everything changed. My intention towards my family was the biggest shift. When I started being intentional about everything I did, the same way I was intentional with my business, the same way I was intentional with my fitness, guess what? Everything changed.
Welcome to another episode of the JJ Velasquez Show. I'm your host, JJ Velasquez. Today, we got a special guest with me. He's a men's coach who helps dads become elite men and husbands. He's been featured in ABC News, Fox News. He's the author of Ignite, a great book on holistic weight loss, feeling confident, and then, of course, unlocking your full potential. That's what it's all about. Mr. Joel Evan, welcome, bro.
Let's go, JJ. Great to be here, brother.
Yeah, you too, man. Well, man, and what I brought on Joel for is, guys, this podcast is all about becoming like exactly like it says, unlocking your full potential as men. We should always be striving to become better in all areas. So first, Joel's an expert in the health field, and then also, what we're gonna dive into is just becoming that elite father, that elite husband, and just becoming the best man we can. So that's where we're gonna start off with this today. So Joel, man, unlocking your full potential, like what got you started with that? What does that mean to you, man?
Yeah, so I'm sure like many people, and I know you've shared this and posted this, I was broken, JJ. I was broken. At 18 years old, I didn't know what I was going to do. All my friends were going to Stanford, Harvard, Cal Berkeley. And you know where Joel was going? Nowhere. I was going to the JC because I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was around all these successful people, but I was lost because I was just plugged into the matrix. I was plugged into the system. I was told to go out and get good grades and do these things. And I did it, and then high school ended, and it's like, oh, you have to do something. Now you got to fend for yourself. I'm like, but what do I do? So I felt horrible, and I remember that time, and I'm like, I will never feel this lost again in my life. I don't want to feel this way. So I just devoured Tony Robbins and all the self-development stuff, and it really just kind of raised me up. And so for then on, I've just always been on this kick of, like you said, unlocking your full potential, but learning about what makes us tick and how can I be better, and always sharpening my sword so I can be better and better and better. And I think that mindset has just been cultivated since I was a broken 18-year-old and not wanting to feel that again.
Yeah. Well, and I love that, man, because especially as men, number one, I feel that there's just not a lot of men that are really chasing their full potential. They're doing the 9 to 5, they're, working a job they hate, just not satisfied. They're scared to maybe step outside of their comfort zone and go down a different route, which we both kind of decided like that route isn't for us. We're entrepreneurs. We want to go after our full potential. We want to do stuff differently. We want to invest in ourselves, learn different things, and just obviously go a different route, man. So, I know that I know we both kind of started in the health and fitness space myself. So first I just wanted to, I know you practice some different strategies and stuff like that with your health and fitness. So definitely curious to see kind of, you're what, 41 right now?
41, yeah, you nailed it.
And you've been maintaining your health and fitness even around the busy dad life, busy family life, just like me. How important is it for you to still, take care of your fitness even with all the family stuff going on?
Yeah, so what's crazy is that I never had a weight issue ever in my life, and I could never figure it out. Like, man, why is that? Because here I am. I was a first responder for 15 years. I was a police officer in Oakland and in San Francisco. So I had very demanding schedule, shift work. And I have 2 kids, a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. And my oldest has been 9. Once he was born, I stopped going to the gym. I had CrossFit membership. I had jiu-jitsu membership, and my wife said, Joel, you think you're going to do these things when the kids are born? I'm like, do you know who I am? I'll put whatever I put my mind to, I can do. And I was wrong. Like when my kid was born, I'm like, man, I got to actually make more time. I don't have as much time. I was working a lot of overtime because my wife wasn't working now. So now I was working extra, didn't have the time. So I cut my CrossFit membership, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do jiu-jitsu still. And then my second kid was born 3 years later. And guess what? I had to cut my jiu-jitsu membership. I'm like, I don't even have less time. So I had to figure out, like you said, I had to figure out the strategies. And like, health is just who I am. It's my identity. Being fit, moving my body daily. Like if I don't do that, it would be the opposite. Like you would see a Joel who's very angry. I would be miserable to be around. And so I have to do something every day. And so even though if it's just something small, like, I think you and I love HIIT workouts and other things, but like, even if I just did a 4-minute Tabata round, workout, if I did some kind of burpee exercise, if you can do 15 to 20 minutes of movement every day, and that's just really what I've consistently done over the last 9 years, even with even with a business, even with kids, even with the shift work. I just maintained that identity and I never fell out of it. And because of that strong magnetic pull of my values, my identity, I always do something daily, even if it's just 10 minutes.
And I love that, man, because especially what you said there, like obviously, yeah, same thing with me with the kids. It's like we have these life situations that happen to us, and instead of letting those be our excuses, we still find a different way to make it get done. Okay, I'm going to cut out the jujitsu, but I'm still going to take care of myself. I got to cut out this now because I had the kid, but I still got to take care of myself. And that's the biggest thing. And then another thing you said too, it becomes part of our identity. Like your goal isn't to, same thing with me. My goal isn't to lose 20 pounds or hit a certain weight number on the scale. It's about taking care of me, relieving that stress and doing it for me because it's part of who I am. And the same thing with me. If I feel like shit, if I don't work out, if I let myself go, if I miss 3 or 4 workouts or days, I'm just like, damn, because it's just become part of who we are. So tell me about these guys.
JJ, really quick, I just got to say, you nailed it. And I looked at your face when I said I don't go to the gym. You were like, it dropped. So have your editor look back in time and go, wait, what? And I know you're thinking, how is that possible? And what you said, to your point, I knew I couldn't go to the gym anymore because it took me half hour to get there, half hour back. That's an hour of my time plus an hour in a CrossFit class. So what I did was I bought kettlebells. I bought some stuff that I bought rings. I bought ropes. I hung it in my garage, and I made my workouts that way. So that's what I did. Don't get it twisted. Like I didn't just give up, but I made it work in my environment that had changed.
And if you hear what you're saying, like we find a way to make it work. Like, oh, damn, I can't commute anymore. I can't do this anymore. Well, what can I do? How can I still how can I still make it work? How can I still find time? Okay, I'm going to work out from home now. I'm going to find out home workouts. I'm going to learn what I can do from home. I'm still going to find a way to get it done instead of letting myself go and falling off track and stuff. And I see that happen a lot with men, or they've gained 20 pounds after they had the kids and stuff. And I know you worked a lot in the weight loss space. What do you say? Talk to me about the mindset of that. You feel that you need to be successful in this space, in the fitness space.
So important. And you know better than anyone, you and I have been on lots of calls with men and women and them telling us and every time I ask them, JJ, I'm like, dude, what is the biggest problem? Like, why don't you gain 20 pounds, let's say, why are you not where you want to be? No one has ever told me, very rarely have they told me, oh, it's because I don't exercise enough and I need to eat less. Yeah, that's part of it, but they never tell me that on these calls. They always tell me these two things. Joel, I'm not consistent and I'm not committed. Those are the two words I hear over and over again. And so I always tell people, losing weight or doing anything, starting a business, it is not a physical thing. It is not a diet. It's a mindset. You're not consistent. You're not committed. That's a mindset issue. That's not a go out and do 20 more burpees. Go out and, fast. Like, sure, go out and do those things. But it's all up here, man. And so that's why mindset's so huge for me. And
do you think it's because maybe some of these people, they've tried different fad diets, they've fallen off track, they don't believe they can be successful? Or what do you feel the biggest hangup is in their mindset that's maybe self-sabotaging themselves?
I think it's their past. I think a lot of people suffer from limiting beliefs and this idea of self-love not being good enough. And then what happens is you start living out these limiting beliefs. So you have a kid and then it becomes, well, I have to work more. I have to do this. And so your health gets pushed down to the side. And I always like to ask people, one of the big things I always do is, hey, what are your values? I'm curious. And every time I ask people this, you wouldn't believe it. They would say, oh, Joel, I'm a generous person. I am a person of integrity. I do unto others. I'm very giving. And I'm like, man, those are so amazing. I'm so proud of you have these values. Like, I would want to be your friend. Let me ask you a question. Is health one of your values? And every time, JJ, I see their faces go, no, but it should be. And I'm like, exactly. Like, health is one of my top 5 values. So that's why people like you and I, like I said earlier, if I don't work out, if I don't just move my body daily, I feel out of alignment. I'm not living my truth. And when you're not aligned with your truth, you get blocked by the universe, believe it or not. And the universe knocks you down. So when you vibrate with the truth, and this is kind of woo-woo, but literally when you start to vibrate in alignment with who you say you are, man, the potential just skyrockets.
Well, and you've probably seen this too, but I've helped tons of men lose weight, feel great, and their mindset shifts, their identity shifts. They start to believe they are someone else now. And I always say it's not about the weight on the scale, it's about the man you become in the process. Because I truly believe when you push yourself and do these hard workouts, and when you change your body and you feel confident and you believe in yourself because you've actually accomplished something, it actually changes your identity of, I'm someone who values myself now. I'm someone who takes care of myself now. And then it's kind of like, well, that's the new identity. And pretty soon now you're suddenly consistent. Now you're suddenly motivated. Now you're suddenly able to do this. And I think that's huge, huge, man. But like I said, the biggest thing I feel like, yeah, is that mindset. So if someone is coming, maybe struggling with their mindset right now, maybe they've had a bunch of failures in the past. They don't believe they can be successful and they want help. Where's the first place you start with their mindset, or what's the first, step that you give them to get started on improving their mindset?
Yeah, one of the things, like I mentioned already, is, your values. Like, what are they? What do you stand for? A lot of people don't know. They don't know what they stand for. And like we just talked about, they didn't even have health as a value. So if it's not even on your list of things to be, I always tell people this, willpower is only going to get you so far. You can will yourself to I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. and go to the gym. Yeah, some people do that, and they can actually kind of cross that plateau. There's the Jockos, there's the Watson Fitts, there's the JJ Velasquez that do that, right? But most people don't do that. And so I always tell people, what is going to hold a stronger magnetic pull than willpower? Because willpower wanes like a muscle. You can only do so much willing before you give out. You exhaust yourself. Values, though, that's so much deeper. That's like this magnetic pull that drives you. So, one of my values might not only be health, but it might be my family, living and serving to the fullest so that my son, that he sees the way I treat my wife, and I'm the example for how he will then treat his wife, and so on and so forth. So, what are your values? That's one of the first things. One exercise I'm going to give you that I like to run with my clients that I think is really powerful. It's called the perfect day exercise. And I always ask people, entertain me. What would be your perfect day today? Don't tell me ideally. No. If we snap our fingers and you wake up tomorrow, what do you imagine your perfect day to be? What do you imagine to be doing? And go through minute by minute. Man, I'm going to wake up I wake up in the morning. I look over. My beautiful wife is sitting next to me. She's sleeping. I get up. I go to the gym. I go downstairs. I work out. I make coffee. Give me minute by minute details, right? And then from there, what I like to do is say, okay, this is your perfect day, and here's where your current reality is, where you're living. How do we bridge these two together? Most people think it's impossible. I've seen people, I know you have too, I've seen people radically change their lives and make that seemingly impossible get at least, if we don't accomplish it, we're going to get closer. That's for sure.
And I think too, and I think that really is the value in having coaches, because sometimes if you've been struggling with your weight, or you're in this area where you're stuck, you don't know how to get out of it. And people like us, or you need someone else to pull you up to their level. You need someone else to show you a different way of doing things, a different mindset, different habits, different belief system, to start to implant that in you. Because when you're constantly surrounding yourself with people that have the goals that you want, or that can actually damn, you're going to just level up your life just because oh, I know that you start to learn different mindsets, different habits and stuff. And I've always believed that's the value in coaching and stuff too. And, same thing with lots of my guys too. I feel like we just have to just, and that's why I love having our consultation calls, because sometimes they don't realize how important your fitness is. What happens if nothing changes? If you keep going down this path, oh, I might have a heart attack, or this, and this. How do your kids see you right now? Are you that confident man with the shirt off? Or are you the dad on the sidelines with the shirt on at the beach? This is what sometimes just opening the eyes to these guys, they realize oh, damn, I need to make this change and stuff. And then giving them the roadmap and stuff, I believe. But yeah, I think that's the true value in having a coach, man. And I know you're a big believer in especially doing some hard shit and stuff. So tell me about this fasting and the detox and stuff that you're a practitioner of, or you believe in, or kind of tell me a little bit more about that stuff, man.
Yeah, so my background, is I've always been into fitness, but I have multiple health coaching certifications. So yeah, I studied under various naturopaths and learned some of these ancient, not only I would say Western, or what they call orthomolecular nutrition and practices, as well as Ayurvedic practices to detox the body. So I'm a big proponent of doing it. I think everyone should do it. Right now, if you go to the Environmental Protection Agency's website, it will tell you, and men should know this too. We have a lot of men, this, on TRT. Everyone's got these hormonal disruptors and they can't figure it out. And why has this been happening more recently than in the past? Well, I'm going to tell you. There's all these toxins. We're being bombarded by at least 86,000 man-made toxins I didn't make this number up. The Environmental Protection Agency, go to their website. They'll tell you this. So on that website, it tells you, and these are hormone disruptors. Your body, your liver has to process them, and they don't just come out. And so I really believe in functional medicine detoxes. I see people lose a lot of inflammation, a lot of that toxic water weight that we see, and it just really kind of helps ignite them quickly and get their body kind of tuned up. The inflammation's down, cortisol's down, and their hormones start to rebalance. And so I am a big proponent of that. Now, on the fasting side, you're referring to some things I did recently. I did a couple longer fasts, kind of like you said, doing hard shit.
Yeah.
I don't like to fast, okay? You might look at me and think, oh, well, he's just a fasting, guy. No, I don't. I don't like it. I was making my family hanger steak this week and all these other things. I don't like cooking and not eating that steak, okay? But sometimes you got to do hard shit. And I wanted to push myself. I wanted to see what it would be like to do this 5-day fast. It's a fasting mimicking diet.
Shit.
Yeah, and I didn't listen. To be clear, I was able to eat food, but the way this is designed, it's called a fasting mimicking diet. So it mimics fasting. It tricks your body into a fasted state. Your body believes it is fasting. It's doing all the cellular processes that you would get from a fast, but you're eating. The food you're eating, though, is like marginal. I mean, you start with like 1,000 calories a day till you work your way by day 5. I think maybe like you're at 500. So you're eating these soups and these broths and stuff, but really neat stuff. And again, it was miserable. It wasn't the worst. I mean, doing a 5-day water fast would be even worse, right? But the point being is I want to do something hard. I want to challenge myself, and I'm a big proponent of health. That's a value, right? And I want to live longer and be there for my kids and be the person who does what he says. And so I did it.
Exactly. And so is this something you practice once a year, once a month, weekly, every day? How often do you fast?
Yeah, great question. You know what? Now I used to fast a lot. I used to do a lot of intermittent fasting. I've backed down from that. I think the studies show that that doesn't really do as much as we used to think. So I'm a big proponent, and I think most men, this works out well for them. I think everybody should do a minimum of 12 hours of fasting daily. That's just easy, and that gives your body to recover. So do that. As far as me, I like to do a liver detox, that functional medicine detox we're talking about. I do a 7-day detox every quarter, every 3 months. And this new fasting mimicking diet I just experimented with, that was a 5-day fast. You know what? I would probably do that maybe twice a year. So, yeah.
Okay, so you do a detox about every 3 months, and then a fast. How often again?
That longer fast, I just implemented the 5-day fast, so I'll probably do that twice a year. On top of my other like kind of liver detox.
Now, when you were working in the fitness space, was that something part of your protocol? Were you preaching these guys fit? Oh, you were.
Yeah. You're talking about. Sorry, I was nodding my head. I'm referring to the liver detox. Yes, I think everyone should do it, and I think most people. I'm 41.
Yeah.
By the time we see all these hormonal issues and stuff, it's in your 30s and 40s, and you. All of a sudden, you're like, man, I'm inflamed. Man, this happened. No, it didn't just happen overnight. You're 35 years old. You're 41 like me. Like, it was a 41-year accumulation of crap in your body. And so we've got to detox and do these things. I truly believe it, and I see the results. So I'm a big proponent of doing that, and I think everybody, again, depending on the weight you want to lose, your health goals, you could even do a 21-day. I do a 7-day just as maintenance, but it just
and then as far as the fasting goes, because I get this a lot too with guys that want to lose weight and stuff. They want to do fasting or stuff. What's your thought process behind fasting? Are you more of a fan of like you should fast or you should do something more sustainable? In your practice, when you were coaching, like what's your opinion on intermittent fasting and for their weight loss goals?
Hey, listen, like I said, the research on fasting has shown more so recently that if you're fasting, like you're doing a typical 16-8, if you're doing it because you think you are fasting, like you think your body is what they call autophagy and entering this cell recycling state, you are completely wrong. It is not doing that, okay? You have to go way longer, 24, 48 hours to start seeing that. So that's what you need to think about. And if you want to do it for longevity purposes and that kind of cell cleaning, cell rejuvenation, you got to go deeper and longer. And that's what I would pick. Hey, once or twice a year, maybe do that. Now, if you're just doing it because you want to reduce calories and you need that, I think that's a great modality. Do a 16-8. Again, I think everybody should do a 12-hour fast. That's just bare minimum. And depending where guys are at, and you train a lot of people, they might need more for their output that they're doing. So I don't think everyone should be doing a 16-8. I think it's great for people in the beginning. Listen, there are studies showing that time-restricted eating, which is like 16-8, can be really good. We see there's a study that was done in Italy with Italian cyclists. They ate the same amount of calories, And some of the first group ate in a 14-hour period. The other group ate in a 7-hour period. The difference in the 7-hour period of eating, there was a huge difference in the increase in positively their metabolic markers. So things like glucose, A1C, and some of the inflammation markers. So there is data out there to suggest that doing that is valuable. But again, a guy like you, I see the workouts and stuff you do. I don't think you should be fasting 16 hours. I think that'd be ridiculous. So
Yeah.
everyone's got that bio individuality, and
Yeah.
test and see what works for you.
Love it, man. Well, and one thing too that you hit on to it, you want to do this fast to do hard shit. I've done burpees in the snow, cold showers. We've done cold baths together,
Yes.
and, I mean, not together, but we were part of a program where we all did some cold ice baths and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I feel that, like, yeah, sometimes men are conditioned now to be weak. You don't want to do any hard shit. You don't want to have to wake up earlier. You don't want to have to, get in this 30-minute workout. You don't want to push yourself to do hard shit. You get comfortable in your comfort zone, and then you get complacent. You gain weight. You turn to the vices, all that stuff. So, I mean, what's your opinion on, doing hard shit? Pushing yourself, doing hard stuff, man.
So you have a group out there who will say, you don't need to do ice baths and stuff. Well, and that's great. Those are great people too, and they're very successful. I mean, you see, you and I are around a lot of successful people that they don't do ice baths. They don't even work out the way we do. I'm different. I have to do that. And if for me, it's, again, jumping in an ice bath, doing a long fast, doing a hard workout, those mentally trigger something for me and make me feel good. They make me feel alive. So I'm going to keep doing it. And I think, like you said, we are entering an age of where, I don't know why, maybe I do, but people want us to be weak. They want men to be weak. Yeah. And it's not okay. You got to be, I believe in a balance. As one of the things I'm really passionate about is building elite fathers and husbands. And you can't be an elite father or husband if you can't protect your wife. Okay. Yeah. You can't protect your kids. And like, you can't survive in a fight or something. You better be harder to kill. There better be a part of you that is ready to go. All right, now, do you need to have that as a guy who was a cop and was hyper vigilant even when I was off duty? Should you bring that into your life always? No. Like, there has to be a balance. But you need to be harder to kill. And the last thing I want to say about this is there's a lot of research on dopamine, right, and what it does to the brain. And we are living in a dopamine-rich environment where we get TikTok and we got all these things that we can look at, and it's overstimulating. And so we have to get back to that baseline of dopamine, we have to do things like scroll on TikTok even more. Well, I'm not going to do that. So to get my dopamine hit, I would rather jump in a cold ice bath or hit a nice workout or something like that.
Well, same thing with me, man. I'm a big believer. If we can push yourself to do this hard shit, lifting weights, even working out hard, doing burpees and doing more and more and more, like, your mind wants to give out. You want to quit. You want to give out. You want to just stop. But when you can push yourself to that next level and push yourself for that extra minute in the ice bath, or when you can lift that heavier weight or do those extra burpees, like, you build something inside you that's like, damn, I didn't think I can do this. And you're pushing to that next level, and that can really build something inside you. When you have some more hard shit happening in your life, you're ready to handle it because you believe in yourself that you can take it to the next level. And just like you said, man, I believe as men, like, we need to be fit. Like, you look around, back in the day, it's always that when you think of a man, you don't think of this overweight, sloppy, lazy. You think of a man that's in shape, a man is that protector, that provider, that leader. And I'm a big fan. If you can't even lead yourself, how are you supposed to lead others? If you can't even, if you're so out of shape where you can't protect your family and stuff like that, like, are you being the best dad that you can? Are you being that man that your family needs? Ideally, probably not, So with that being said, man, that's what I really wanted to, bring Joel on. He's an expert in, he's helping elite men become elite dads and husbands. So I really want to dive into this stuff because this is what I'm a big believer in too, is like, we have to be that elite dad at all levels. And maybe we're not there right now, but we can get there with the right, mentorship, guidance, and we should always be striving to be that man. So Joel, real quick, what made you want to get into this, helping men, achieve this goal?
Guess what? Again, I was broken. I had a lot of things figured out, man. My mindset was dialed in. You know my story about self-development. You know my story about health. Like, that was a value of mine. But guess what was not a value? My family. I wasn't putting them number one. I wasn't putting them number two. I was putting my growth, my significance, me wanting to be validated, me wanting to be successful. And that's always been great for me. It's been something that has driven me to get to where I am now. But guess who was suffering? My family, man. And I hired multiple coaches, parenting coaches, dad coaches, went into programs, did seminars. I tried to figure it out. I could never figure out after being married after 11 years, why my marriage, I have all these other things going on that was great, but why my marriage was still, it wouldn't be something I'd brag about. It was like, my kids hated me. They would spit on me. They would kick me. We'd get in these huge fights, and I'm like, I don't get this. Like, you eat organic food. Like, I don't spank you. Like, what else do I have to do? I couldn't figure it out, man. And so I went down this path. I just dug deep, and I was like, I gotta figure this out. Like, we've been talking about all this entire show has been about being a better man, being a better leader, being a better husband, being harder to kill, being harder to kill, but warm to your family. Like, can you do that? Can you be that warmth for them? And I wanted to be that, but I couldn't figure it out. And so again, hired multiple coaches, read multiple books, went down the rabbit hole, and finally it just clicked. I was like, oh, I didn't know this. Like, this is what you have to do. This is the person that my wife has been dreaming of, that I step up as a leader. This is the leader that my boys have been wanting me to do, to step up. And once I stepped into that, everything clicked, man. And it's funny. It took me 10 years to figure this out. It took me 10 years in a marriage that was just lackluster. Now I'm like, oh my God, my marriage is so amazing. Like, now I'm like trying to tell other people, do you realize, like, marriage is actually awesome? And here's the problem, JJ, is that what I realize is we have not been taught skills. Like, you and I have been taught a lot of skills in life, but marriage and being a good husband, I don't see the blueprint or the book out there for it. I didn't read it. It's not out there. Yeah. And there's no like self-development really for it. What we see now is this reactionary kind of gap. Oh, you have problems with your marriage? Go to therapy. Then people start doing things. But otherwise, it's like, well, I'm just going to get married. This person seems cool. I love her. She's hot. She looks good. I like her. She's smart. I think she'll be a good mom. And we get into that life, and we just kind of hope things work out. And just like anything else, going to the gym, eating right, it's a skill I've learned, and you got to learn it.
Well, and I think there's some lots of value in that too, because some of these men can get, maybe you're an entrepreneur and all you focus on is work. So you let your family go, you let your fitness go, or maybe you're focused on, something else. And yeah, like you said, entrepreneur, and you forget about the family and stuff. But I thought about this too. At the end of the day, when shit hits the fan, I went through a scary moment. I was just talking about the shooting that I was in Vegas and stuff. When all the bullshit's aside, what do you think about? What do you want to go home to? A loving family. At the end of the day, after a hard day of work,
you mean to tell me you weren't thinking about all your money?
Yeah, exactly.
No. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't give a shit about Instagram likes or any of this stuff. You care about being with your loved ones, being with your family. And so if you have a shitty relationship with what do you have to fall back on? Your money ain't going to give you that. You're not going to have it. You're going to be left empty inside. And it sounds like you've had a great story with that. And now you're helping men do the same thing. So, I mean, what do you feel? You said you kind of stepped into it and stuff. What do you feel were those tangible things that you actually did to better your marriage and better relationship with your kids?
Yeah. And I kind of highlighted it. And I don't want to beat a dead horse because it's like, oh, that again, Joel. But literally, guys, like, seriously, your values. What are your needs? I really started focusing less on me and more on my kids and my wife. And I asked myself, like, what do they need? What do they need? Stop putting, I know what I need, but who cares? So I started focusing on their needs, love and connection, which was not something that I focused on. Like I said, my biggest focus was my own significance, my own success, and me developing and growing. Love and connection, which is what we all need more than anything, was somewhere down at the bottom. Okay. And they actually talk about this in psychology. They call it the 6 human needs. And my human need for love and connection was down at the bottom. And that's why I didn't prioritize it, dude. I didn't prioritize it. And guess what? It suffered. And so when I started prioritizing love and connection first to my family, everything changed. My intention towards my family was the biggest shift. When I started being intentional about everything I did, the same way I was intentional with my business, the same way I was intentional with my fitness, guess what? Everything changed. So I can't stress that enough. Everybody, be intentional, prioritize. What you prioritize gets done. And I'm talking to the point is, what's your schedule like? Let me see your calendar. Like, I got family time built into the calendar now. I never did that.
So with that, and I love that. And it's the same thing I do. Like, I cut myself off at work at a certain time. I have family time. I take Sundays off from everything. Now, do you practice any of that stuff? Like, on a weekly basis yourself? Maybe we have a weekly date night or like any kind of things like that you implemented into your schedule?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, number one, I do this thing called special time. So you have a youngin right now, and so it's a little different. But when they get older, and you might even have multiple kids, right? And so it's going to be even more challenging. So this is going to be really important. I spend at least 10 minutes of what I call special time with each son. I want to make sure that they get their own one-on-one time with me. And special time is a chance for them. Kids are not autonomous, right? They're told, go do this, go do that, clean up, get up for school, do these things. They don't ever get to be in control. So special time is a chance for them to be in control. Hey, what do you want to do? And it could be the stupidest game in the world, one of the games that I hate. Dad, I want to play cars. I hate cars. Okay, you got it. I'm going to put my phone down. It's not going to be around. I set my timer for 10 minutes. And listen, it can be longer than 10 minutes, but the point is I always give at least 10 minutes. Some guys might be listening to this and go, oh, come on, Joel, 10 minutes? That's not going to do anything. Yes, it will. 10 minutes compounded. Imagine if you do 10 minutes every day for 365 days. It's huge. Your kids start to feel that connection again with you. They feel seen. They feel heard. So even though it just seems like it's nothing, it's huge. You let them do whatever they want, and you are all in. So I do that every day. Now, as far as weekly goals, yes, I have a weekly date with each kid, and that's similar to special time, but I always say, hey, what do you want to do? And then I have my own ideas already. And so it's a time for us to connect. I do that also with my wife. So there's 3 of us, the 2 boys and my wife, and so we rotate. So one week it's one kid, the next week is another kid, and then the third week is my wife. We have that special date. Yep.
Yeah, and I think you said that, like, I think even though it may be 10 minutes or whatever, it's quality time. Like, and you get this dad that he's still at home, but he's still on calls, or he's on his phone scrolling, watching TV, watching the football game, and it's like, that's not quality time. And I think what you're saying is just spending a good quality time where nothing else is distracted you, and just you're focused on that special time, you call it.
Yeah, you nailed it, dude.
Now, what would you
so
say
right.
now? And what would you say? Because I've, dealt with this myself, having the new baby and stuff too. Like, to the dad that, he spends the, maybe it is a newborn or a new kid where all your time is on the kid now, and you let your relationship fall off track, or, you put the relationship on the back burner. How would you say you navigate that, or some good strategies on how to deal with that?
Such a great question, and I can relate. I fell into that trap. My wife, I used to be bitter at her. I was like, in my head, or even sometimes I'd say, like, oh, you just focus on the kids. You don't even focus on me anymore, and all you care about is the kids and the kids, the kids, kids. And it gets that way. And then you have a second kid like we did, and then it's even more about the kids. It's like, what about us? What about me? And that will go to the sideline. Now, what I have done to regain that was, again, prioritizing it, being intentional, and also being vulnerable to the sense that, like, hey, I want to freaking connect with you. And, like, you feel as a man, at least from my childhood, I had to really go deep and go, how come I feel weird about saying that? Like, I felt weak coming to her and saying, like, hey, I want to connect with you. Or, like, my feelings are hurt because, like, we don't hang out anymore. And that felt weak to me. Now I see it as a strength, because now I look at it as, like, I'm confident. Like, actually, guess what, JJ? I'm leading by doing that. I'm leading because I'm looking at the playing field now as the leader of this team. As Jocko Willing says, there are no bad teams. There's just bad leaders. So I'm the quarterback of this freaking family. And as a leader, I got to look what's going well, what's not. Oh, you know what? My wife and I, we're not getting on anymore. We're not spending time anymore. I don't even know. We're roommates. Whoa. We got to have a conversation. We got to sit down. Like, I love you. I'm invested. And you know what? A lot of times, oh my God, like, I was so much in my head. I didn't know that. Yeah, you're right. Let's connect tonight. Your wives, guys, like, if there's a reason you're together, they will make it happen. But you cannot let the leadership role go to her. That's my advice, because you will do them and you'll have your own, like, oh, but she never initiates. Who cares? You're the leader. You initiate every freaking time if you have to, but you got to step up and you got to lead. And guess what? Women love that. They love when you are the leader and they see that you're doing that. You got to be able to hold their negativity when they're negative, and you got to be able to lead.
So it sounds like you're making the time, the quality time for your relationship now, but you're also communicating as well. Like, hey, these are my things I'm concerned about. This is what I'm feeling. We don't want to share our feelings. Like, this is what I'm feeling now. What can we do to improve this? And then you actually taking the action steps to initiate, the change and stuff like that. So would you say making the time, or it's a communication, or what was the biggest step in getting back your relationship, or getting back that sex life, or, that part of your life?
Yeah, it's messy, dude. It's messy in the beginning. It sucks. My wife a year ago was like telling me, Joel, you need help. you need to go find somebody again. Like it's getting bad again. Like you're not focused. You need to focus on the family. You need to hire a dad. I'm like, what? Like, come on, man. Like you're the problem. I'm like, you're the problem. You're the problem. The kids are the problem. I'm not the problem. I'm perfect. And I had to go deep and really be all in and not there's excuses I would make, of why things weren't going well. She's this way and she's that way. And so I had to like push all that aside. And I had to just step into it, whether it was uncomfortable or not. And dude, JJ, I got my ass kicked multiple weeks in a row by my wife still, like, because you know why? She didn't trust me.
Yeah.
She was like, like, I see he's trying to change, but I don't trust this motherfucker. I don't trust him. Like, yeah, like, I see what he's doing, but, like, you know what? He's got history. And so I had to earn that trust back. I had to get my ass kicked for 3 to 4 weeks, sometimes a month, guys. And it feels like, oh, well, I tried something. It didn't work. Yeah. Well, you got to earn that trust back. Your wife doesn't trust you. And so the only way you're going to earn it back is you got to just keep showing up. And, I'll be honest. I'll tell you what, having a men's group, I thought that was like hokey. And now I'm all in. I love men's groups. I think they're valuable. And that's why I'm starting my own, because I see the value in what it's going to do and how it changes people. And you know better than anybody, having that community that you can bounce off and talk about your problems is so valuable.
Well, and yeah, I think not only number one, I love that you're a man helping other men too, and I'm in that same spot because I think that there is value, and lots of times us as men, we don't have anybody else we could turn to. Our friends, our family, it's different. But when you have a community of like-minded people who are all working on their same goals, whether it's a business, fitness, their relationships, like everyone's going through the same stuff. So there's lots of value in plugging into these communities and everything, man. So, I mean, working with these guys, these I know you work with a lot of first responders and just general men. What do you feel their biggest struggle is in their marriages currently? Or maybe that you hear a lot that they're struggling with? Is it the intimacy, the connection, or just what would you say is the biggest struggle for them?
That's easy. Presence. None of them are present. We were just talking about the phone and being on the phone. None of them are present. The number one concern I hear with every dad is, how do I be present, Joel? How do I be more present? How do I also, here's the number two, which ties in with number one, how do I find balance? How do I find this work-life balance? I don't understand how to do it. Like, work is doing this, it's stressing me out and pulling me this direction with the shift work and the lack of staffing right now that we're seeing all over for first responders. And they don't know how to balance it and also be the leader that we're talking about, the hero for their dad, the dad that's a hero at home, not just on the battlefield. And they don't know how to do it. That's the biggest complaint.
Yeah. And I see this, I remember going through this when I was younger too and stuff, but sometimes maybe it's been a long day of work. We worked at like these first responders, 10-hour day, 12-hour day. We come home tired and now we just want to sit on the couch. We don't want to work out. We probably don't want to be present. We just want to relax and de-stress. Like, what do you say to these men that are working long hours, but still need to make the time and make it a priority? How can they either change their mindset, or how can they still, even after a long day, still be present with their kids and family?
There's a lot of different strategies. It depends what we're doing. Is it spending time with the kids, or is it, oh, dude, you need to get a workout in? I'll be honest. I think some of them actually, recovery is huge. I think they might, depending where you're at, you might need to like kind of go to your cave for a second. And that could be actually a very powerful turning point for you and your wife, depending where it is. You might come home and be like, hey, look, when I get off my shift, I'm just going a miles a minute. And like, I'm a miserable person. I need 10 minutes. If you could actually confidently tell that to your wife and you're like, after 10 minutes, like, I just need to breathe. I need to have a drink or whatever it is. I just need to like sit for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to come back and be awesome dad. That could be the turning point. I don't know. Or there could be other strategies you could do depending if it's you need to get a workout in or you need to be present with your kids. There'd be some other ideas I might have too.
Yeah. So, and then I know with that being said too, I know there's also lots of guys that, they feel they got so much going on with their kids and their family that, maybe they're putting time into that stuff, but they're letting go of their fitness, and when you let go of your fitness, how that impacts the other areas of your life as well. So what do you tell that guy that needs to make his fitness a priority as well, who's, just working on the family and the kid stuff?
It goes back to priorities, and we talked about this, right? And I think I'm a great example because it's like I mentioned earlier, I never had weight issues. 9 years of being a police officer and I was almost a police officer for 15 years, but I had I had 9 years of my career. I had children. So I know what it's like to be, have no capacity for time.
Yeah.
But somehow I was able to make time, JJ, because you don't need you don't need to be in the gym 60 minutes a day. That's my personal feeling. I don't think you need
Yeah.
to be healthy. Now, if you want to hit certain PRs and goals, then you got other things you need to do. But just to be healthy, if you could do 10 to 20 minutes regularly, you could do it. So I'm going to tell you right now, well, you got to work out. You got to wake up 20 minutes early, or you got to spend 20 minutes after. Like, you pick. I don't know, but I guarantee if you and I sat down with someone client's schedule, we would find 20 minutes to plug them in, be like, boom, right there. You said you didn't have time. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the kids, right? It goes back to the special time. You come home, you're exhausted. I would be telling myself a mantra like, man, I'm so exhausted, but my son needs me. And I'm just going to devote 10 minutes. Like, I'm going to be locked in on him, and then I'm going to go to my cave. And going to the cave can actually be very healthy. And there's a lot of studies showing hormonally it helps regulate men's testosterone. So it's actually a good thing. And that's why I said it just kind of depends where you're at. But, I mean, what's 10 minutes, man? I'll set my timer on my phone right now, and I'm all in on my kid. And then, cool. I'm going to tell my wife I'm going to go to my cave for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to come out and be more rejuvenated.
And I think that you brought up a good point there too, because I see this a lot too, and I'm a big fan of this too. We need to be at our best for our family, our kids and stuff too, but we also got to show up for ourselves. Because if we're tired, if we're stressed, if we're not making 10 minutes, 30 minutes for a workout or whatever, we're not going to be at our best. We're going to come in stressed, angry, in a bad mood, thinking about work, not being able to be present. So I think there's value in making the time for that workout, getting it done. At least that's what workouts do for me. They clear my mind. If I'm stressed, I feel good after workout. We always feel good after a workout, but it's just about, like you said, making all these things a priority, because they all need to be. Our family needs us, not only to be present, but to be healthy, to be around a long time, to be a good role model for them, to be that leader. Our relationship needs that, because what do we have if we're not prioritizing our relationship? We have nothing to fall back on. And sometimes when everything else is crazy, work and stuff, we need that family. So I think there's values in everything. And like you said in the beginning too, like, what do you value? Do you value your fitness, your family, your finance? Like, one thing I'm a big believer in too. It's like, if you don't value that area, most people, maybe that's why they're not spending the time on it and stuff too. So what are you valuing on a daily basis? I think that's kind of what you're hitting at too. And that's how you can just learn to prioritize everything.
Yeah. And I mean, I know you and I are big believers in investing in ourselves, and we kind of chuckle at the people that don't. Dude, listen, I went pretty much bankrupt losing my job as a first responder. I was almost making $200,000 a year, and that just went away. Boom. When I got released from the San Francisco Police Department over the mandates. So I know better than anybody to have nothing and still invest in myself. I still go all in, and I go in all in to this day, and I still don't have the money that I was making back then. And the reason is because I think, like you talk about values, I think about, well, where do I want to be? Who do I want to become? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's worth it. I'm going in all on me, because it's so worth it, because the change, the legacy, and the impact I'm going to have with my family for future generations. Most guys, as you know, they say they want it. I value this, I value that. No, you don't. You didn't even want to pay for some coaching, and I could have up-leveled you. And I pay and you pay way more for the coaches that we hire, because we see it, man. We're like, I want to be where you're at, and I'm not going to stop until I do.
And with these, these men and stuff that we need to really get across to you guys is like, we're at this point now where you can get to a different level, because that you might not be able to get into on your own. Some people don't believe in coaches. They never even read or done self-development. Like, how do you think your life's going to improve if you never improve yourself? If you never learn anything differently, if you never develop any new habits, a different mindset, like, nothing's going to change. So that's why there's such value, and why I've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years, and probably won't ever stop, but that's how I keep taking my life to the next level and stuff too. So it's like, you guys have to really learn, and this is exactly what I've learned from surrounding myself with coaches and mentors too. Like, when you surround yourself with these people, you start to think different. You have more belief in yourself. You start to act differently, because you start to see the power in that. And then it's like, that's how you can change. That's how you can up-level your life. And, that's why me and Joel are both in the coaching space, helping men. Like, we're helping men. Joel, becoming a better dad, becoming a better leader. Like, if that's something you struggle with, don't struggle in silence. It's not going to improve. You need to learn different ways, different habits from someone that's actually successful in this area. Someone that has been exactly where you've been, has overcame it, has a great relationship, is fulfilled in all these areas now. Like, we need to learn from the people that have gone down the path that we want to be on. Same thing, even in my fitness space and stuff like this. Like, don't struggle there in silence, because that's when you can get down and depressed, like turn towards alcohol, devices. That there's help out there. Me and Joel are, and that's what I love too. We're men helping other men. Like, if you're someone that needs help, don't be scared to ask for help. I know me and Joel too. Like, We've hired coaches and said, why? Because we felt we needed help in an area. I've been broke. I've been overweight. I've been all this stuff too. How did I get out of it? Started surrounding myself with coaches, mentors, just to pull me up. And the same thing Joel's doing too, man. So I love that. But yeah, a lot of what you said, and the reason I want to get clear to you guys, like if you hear the mindset, like listen to the way we think about things. We're not thinking about, the 9 to 5. We're not thinking about the bar on the weekends, all the bullshit. Like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about becoming better men, better for our families, making more income, getting in shape. Like, that's the mindset and values that we should all have. And we need to start surrounding ourselves with people like that, like-minded people, plug into Joel's group, plug into our communities. Because when you're constantly surrounding yourself with podcasts like these, videos, books, that's how we can up-level our lives.
Dude, and the funny thing what you just said is the things going out, drinking, I don't even think about those things anymore. Like, and I would never even want that life anymore because I'm so in tune to my new frequency of my family and everything I'm building and doing. And the last thing I wanted to just touch on what you mentioned is I think a lot of guys might experience this. I did not think I needed coaching for dad stuff, for parenting. I thought I needed coaching for business. I thought I needed coaching for my mindset. I thought I needed all this. But when it came to being a better parent and a better husband, I didn't think I needed it. And I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there right now, they're like, oh, yeah, I don't need that. Or like, this guy sounds good, but like, I don't need that, JJ, for weight loss. Or like, I don't need it. Like, that's not my problem. And I'm here to tell you, I'm glad I did go all in on it because I was the problem. And I didn't think I was. So it was really helpful for me for breaking through that plateau after 10 years of trying to figure out why my marriage sucked and why my kids didn't respect me. I figured it out.
Well, and to give you guys some background, me and Joel actually met in one of our old coaching communities years ago too, and that just shows even years ago, we were still investing in coaches and stuff now. And look at us, we're both making moves and, continuing to grow our lives. Why? Because we keep on putting it into ourselves. And I just want to end this, Joel, I always in my podcast with Life Gets Better When You Do, we do it 1% better every single day. So what's one thing you feel that you can do daily, to improve 1% better every single day? What would be the biggest thing that you can, your biggest takeaway on how to get 1% better every day?
Intention, man. Like every day you got to be looking at what are you working towards, whether it's health, marriage, whatever it is. Like that needs to be your mission. Like whatever you put your intention and whatever you prioritize, that is the key. And the last thing I want to leave your listeners with, this is a great quote that I love from a famous Buddhist. And he says, nothing in my world ever goes wrong. And someone asked him, like, how are you doing all this? Like, there's so much suffering in the world right now. There's like World War III is about to happen, JJ. Maybe, I don't know. There's some stuff going on across the seas, but he realized like, no, like that's just happening to your body. Your soul is infinite and nothing can actually go wrong. They can't harm you. They can't harm you. And so when you kind of come into life with this ability, this idea of like, yeah, nothing ever goes wrong in my world. That changes everything.
Nice, man. I love that. Well, love it, Joel. We got some good stuff there. Where can these guys find you at?
Yeah, right now, if you're a first responder and you're a man and you're looking to level up, right now the website's not done, but it'll be First Responder Fathers. Anywhere you can just look for that. Otherwise, I'm on Instagram at Joel Evan Coaching, joelevancoaching.com. And then I have my own podcast, The Joel Evan Show. Feel free to check that out. A lot of health, fitness, mindset people show up there. So, yeah, any of those places is a good way to reach me.
Hell yeah. Well, love it, Joel. Thanks for being on today, man. And like we always say, guys, life gets better when you do. 1% better every single day. Let's make it a good one. Let's go.